So, back in the middle we go. Once again, using his body quite well there was Powell. Well, she couldn't get that one to advantage, and we'll get a ball up. Sorry, there was a bit of technical difficulties there. If you couldn't quite hear the call of yours truly, Louis Balzami, thought we were connected, but not quite. We're connected now. So the last goal there for the Royals to an absolute AFL Masters superstar for WA in last year's Carnival up in the Northern Territory, Ryan Kinnear, part of the men's over 45s championship winning team. One of his behinds vital in their 2-point victory over the Northern Territory Bulls. And you got that last goal there. He's got a goal along with Tyrese Brown. And on the other side, Campbell McMahon is the goal scorer for Mount Barker as the ball now comes out to the broadcast wing here towards right half forward. Good tackle laid on there. There by Ashford. Apologies there. It was actually Ashton Henriksen, the 34, not the 24. And we will get a ball up once more. This time the Bulls are able to get the tap down on that occasion to Dante Wiseman. 9 goals in the 5 games so far this year. 5 last week against North Albany. Finds Craig, who then gets the 1-2. He's got some space in front of him as well to go to 50 and load up. This is going to be some kick. It bounces, it's on target, and it's well shepherded through as well. Good goal, great team goal for the Bulls. We're all square again. Oh, this is good football. Both teams willing to take risks and move the ball on. I was watching the AFL last night. We saw that with Carlton pretty much out Geelong in that victory. With a lot of that forward handball movement and quick transition of the football that the Cats are usually renowned for when they're firing all cylinders. Carlton able to click that together and still continue on their undefeated run under caretaker coach Josh Fraser, who still doesn't want the job. Who knows? He might end up getting the Paul Roos treatment from Sydney in 2002. Who also said he didn't want the job back then, ended up getting it, became a premiership coach 3 years later. As now the Lions get it up forward, off hands there. It was Travis Conn. One way, then the other is Brown, who's got a goal to his name so far. Looking to help out here. There is Kinnear, the 40-year-old, once again. Oh! So just scraped the post. I reckon it went through the right way, went in between the sticks, but unfortunately shaded the padding. So Kinnear has 1 goal, 1. Said the 140-year-old, who still plays football like a 21-year-old. Well, has got the body of one anyway. 2-1-13, plays 2 straight 12. The 1 point in favour of the Royals. As the Bulls now get it out towards right half back. Good working close there. That might be Adam Large, another inclusion for them today, the 18. Caught on that occasion was Craig. Loses the football, and now the Royals back in possession. High kick. Get some good distance on it as well, and the mark is taken. It'll be Lachlan Statler to have the shot. 22-year-old. We've had a great campaign in 2024, up forward in the reserves in 2024 for Royals. Kicking 32 goals that season. Just the 1 at senior level in his 8 games. Looking to double that tally here. It's a bit of a stuttering approach, but it works for him. Not quite. Nearly. Looked okay from Sangle. Fortunately, the umpire says 1 behind. Unlike David Roden, he got a good look at it as well. 2-2-14 to 2 straight 12. 2 points the margin for the Lions. 10.5 gone in this opening term as the Bulls see it out of bounds. And it will be tossed back in. Isaiah Hayden. Of course, the Hayden name, legendary in Western Australian football. You can remember Fremantle superstar Roger Hayden for so many years, dominating the 2000s from defence. Now, of course, has an academy name in his honour too. Visited the Central Kimberleys this week as well to take a training session on the Wednesday night as that ball off hands, out of bounds, for a throw in left forward pocket for Royals. Forward to seeing Isaiah Hayden continue on his merry way, and from that throw in there, Kinnear straight away onto it. Now The umpire's blown his whistle quickly. What's he going to pay here? So no score. It'll come back, I think, to Mount Barker. So an infringement, might have been a ruck infringement, I dare say. As a Large will take charge, and he'll release Wiseman, who takes a bounce gallantly through the middle. Not the best of kicks, though. Craig had bamboozled him, but he's got some support, though, at ground level. What can the Bulls do to force this one forward? Here's an opportunity as the kick is now steered in, and the big jukes come out. And it's Hayden once again. And that was prominent. We saw him at right half back only a couple of minutes ago, and now doing the great discipline work, which will certainly put a smile on Gary Pope's face, moving back forward in a hurry to be that big presence. So we'll see what he can do here to steady things for Mount Barker and put them in front. In he comes, makes connection perfectly. So Hayden's got one, Craig and McMahon, the other goal kickers for the Bulls, to make it 3 straight 18. On the other side of the ledger, it's Brown and Kinnear for the Lions, who are 2-2-14, 12 and 3/4 minutes gone in this first term. Weebles Amy on the call with you for Filming Footy, in association, of course, with Dartfish, as well as Classic Clashes. It's all thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, we mentioned, Archie's Footwear, the best thongs going around, Omnibus, we mentioned Classic Clashes, of course on YouTube you can either get us via the Filming Footy channel or the Classic Clashes channel, Gallagher, Retrovision Albany and Premium Grains. As we resume play now, south of the centre circle, Royals try and force it forward, 1%er style. Sockering off the ground, now trying to pick it up cleanly with Statler. Does well to get it inside 50 and find a target as well. Much to the surprise of the Mount Barker defence, they got caught napping there. Just a little. Weren't expecting that one to come out quick. So we'll get the shot on goal coming up shortly. It's Seb Stanton. Other inclusions, that's 5. Even though they won the match last week, so obviously covering a few holes or looking at a few matchups that they probably like a bit better this week. James Carlton's men, as Stanton misses that one to the right for one behind, but good to see others getting some opportunities as well, whether through unfortunate injuries or just simply changing some things up. So third behind now for the Royals, 2-3-15 to 3 straight 18. Mount Barker score, 14.5 gone in this first quarter. As the Royals seem to try and get a repeat entry in, but having none of that was Jacob Souness on the ground, named, well, he will say in his honour anyway. Certainly the Souness family synonymous with football in Mount Barker, as Royals bring it back inside 50, but only as far, though, as the big man in Kobe Williams, who sends this one back out towards right half back. They like to bring it out through there to Mount Barker. One there, not clean though. That was fantastically picked up there by big Seb Ballard. He tumbles that one, misses the intended target. Unfortunately, though, on the bounce there was Luke, who tries to fight back once again. On centre wing now, as Royals just hack it forward. Do it nicely. They've got some time and space here at left half forward, and then that's a juke and a half. Make that double jukes. On the rise as well, Ryan Laser. That was laser sharp from him. Timed the leap perfectly, clunked it nicely. And not much his opponent did wrong at all, if at all. It was just an exquisite mark taken. One for the highlight reel, no question about it. So with 9 goals so far this season, he's only not kicked the goal against this very opponent. Has he righted the wrong here? No, he hasn't. Sprayed to the left out of bounds on the full. Anti-climax, unfortunately, for Ryan Lazar. As we mentioned, no goals against Mount Barker back in round 1, but 3 against Albany round 3, 1 against North Albany round 4, and then bag of 5 last week to make up his 9. As we see an attempt on goal here, and it's fantastic. It's through from behind. I think everyone, including myself, thought it was through for a goal, but it's not. Only the one flag was up. It's one of the best points you'll ever see. So we'll have to go back and take a look at right half back, not at the middle. It was Stanton once again who had that fresh shot on goal. So he's got a couple of behinds so far. The score now 2-4-16 to 3 straight 18. So 17 minutes gone in this first quarter. So even confused the cameraman there. Confused all of us. Because we did think it was on target. Unfortunately, though, the umpire said otherwise and only picked up the one flag after putting up the one finger. Like it wasn't the middle one. So 2 points, the difference. Mount Barker have the lead, but the Royals have the footy. And they've had plenty of possession in this first term. Dare say probably 70% of it if we were keeping stats along the way. Mount Barker have been a lot more efficient going forward, and they've done it superbly with their shots on goal through McMahon and Craig, and especially Hayden, who did some fantastic work to move from defence to attack in the play that he was involved with to get it to goal, because initially when he was at right half back, they had coughed the ball up. Might have been the last disposal out of bounds, I believe. Anyway, well, speaking of Hayden, he's on cue right now. Gets the handball received, gallops towards centre half forward. Kick, though, unfortunately, not to the advantage of the intended target. So the Royals get another look at this one through the middle. I reckon it's Stanton involved once again, is it? No, in actual fact, it was Brown. And he gets tumbled over, and the ball spills free, and away come the Bulls. Kick to grass is what they do. Will it stay in play? No, it runs out. And that'll be last disposal, free kick going the way of Royals. So, fortunately for Craig, couldn't get there in time, even though the ball had nearly come to a standstill. Just that one last little roll of the oval over the boundary line. So Royals now with Kinnear. As mentioned, AFL Masters superstar last year with WA. His first carnival, at least his first recorded carnival. So he's spending enjoying some great time in the top end and getting a premiership medal on the back of it too in the over 35s. And he's part of this fantastic chain. It was just carefully built up all the way through. And Brown will get another opportunity to take a look at this. So Tyrese Brown steadies his approach and puts it through. He's got a couple. Looking the goods. Is he? And the Royal Lions are now getting some reward for effort after a few missed opportunities. 3-4-22 to 3 straight 18. Nearly 20 minutes gone here in this opening quarter. Round 6 of the Great Southern Football League at Sooners Park. Of course, the Great Southern Football League, well supported by the Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers and the naming rights sponsor. Albany Triple M, the minor sponsor. Goal of the year sponsor, Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery. I'd say as far as a contender is concerned at the moment, I'm giving it to Kinnear. And Phoenix Paint and Decorating Mark of the Year sponsor. That'll be Ryan Laser so far as potential contenders that we've seen. But we'll keep track of those as we go along. So centre wing on the near side here, weaving himself in and out of danger. Another change to the Royals lineup. Declan McNamara releases a teammate now, deep inside 50 towards the right forward pocket. Bit of don't argue work put on there. That was good by Con. Now handball back into Henriksen. That was Ashton. Goes across the face. Wanted Brown once again. And why not? Because he's on fire so far. Unfortunately, couldn't take the mark. And eventually it's rushed through. And is it behind or does it touch the behind post? It's the latter. And it will be a throw in. So not a bad result for the Royals in the end. It was actually crafty work from Nick Ashwick. He was the one who had the ball and ran it over the line for them. And made contact with the post along the way while having the footy in possession. That was very clever. Ball up. He goes in ruck here against Hayden. Either got a definitive tap down. The ball eventually found its way back to Ashford. He didn't expect it to come his way. He was sort of look away receive. Anyway, no damage done. Seth Bochin for Royals keeps it alive, as does Brown. All over his opponent. That's got to be rewarded. An umpire says, yeah, I'll do that. Will Bryers caught stone cold right there. And unlike Steve Austin, he couldn't break the glass. And so Brown will line up for his third. A good campaign so far, Tyrese Brown. This one the hardest of the 3 shots, but it does favour his right side. Just waiting the confirmation this time, and it's a minor score. 22 minutes gone. Brown has 2 goals, 1. First of the game, and the one that has recently put Royals in front. They lead it by 5, 3-5-23. Mount Barker, 3 straight 18. Struggling to really get any true, confident rebounds out of their 50. And here comes another one back the other way. And will the Royals make him pay this time? Mark taken by Con in the left forward pocket. You can see Ashford telling him, don't worry about passing it inboard. Have the snap and kick the goal. Just like that. And Con knows his way around the goals. A Royals icon he is. And they now get an 11-point break. 4-5-29 to 3 straight 18. Nearly 23 minutes gone in this third term as we now, first term. That's Nostradamus like. I'm almost talking Back to the Future style. As we thank our sponsors once again for the GSFL, Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, our naming rights sponsor, who have been the naming rights sponsor since the inception 4 years ago for the sponsorship package. Thanks to James and the boys, and certainly get around RCIB when you are dealing locally with your insurance matters. As we resume play in the middle, what can Mount Barker do on the counter-attack here? McMahon tries to break away, cannot do so. Gone. Ran out of answers early on here, Mount Barker, even though their counter-punching was good earlier in the quarter. Now, it seemed to be all at sea, as that there is effortlessly picked up at his bootlaces by Ashford when he had 2 opponents sort of backing away from him. And they find another great avenue inside 50. They're taking inside 50 marks at will at the moment, and it's Con once again. This time a little bit further out, about 45 out. So, dare say the J-curve kick won't be on play here. It'll just be the good old-fashioned drop punt of the Burley. Of course, the very football used in the E.J. Whitten Legends game. In comes Con. Very routine approach for him. And it works again. He's got a couple. He joins Brown with 2. And Kinnear with the other. And now the Royals showing us why they will be contenders once again in season 2026, even though it's a new era for them under new coach James Carlton. 5-5-35 to 3 straight 18 now the score. As we approach quarter time, just over 25 minutes gone. Con with the last 2 goals. As we also welcome on board for the GSFL, Suggs Timber Machinery and Joinery for the goal of the year. As we mentioned that Kinnear, current candidate for that, thanks to Rogan and his crew who do outstanding craftsmanship. And speaking of outstanding, that's what Mount Barker have to be here. And unfortunately, McMahon overruns the football there, but good recovery and tackle, though, to bring his opposite 14 down in Big Pow, the ruckman. And we will get a ball up. 17 points now the difference. Royals in favour. Leaping up there was Griffiths. Nice work to get it down towards Pavlovich. Another change for Mount Barker. But he can't get clear. This ball finds its way back into Declan Wood's lap. And we get another ball up. On occasion there, Powell jumped up, whereas Griffiths stayed grounded and tried to wait for the early leap and then paddle it forward, but didn't make any connection. So we'll do it again. 3 ball ups in around the same area. Southwest part of the centre square. Someone better go check their car. Make sure it's in one piece as their alarm goes off, as Saxon Henriksen now gets the clearing kick away for Royals towards left half forward, and a lot of them just stood still there, but the one who didn't vitally for Mount Barker was Riley Connolly, and he takes away a couple of bounces, feigned the hand pass, and then steered it in to Hayden. Good lead. Great mark. Vital play this one for Mount Barker against the grain. And you can credit this to Riley Connolly, taking the initiative, drew opponents in, opened up the space along the far wing, the scoreboard side. And the pass was a bullet. It stayed flat and it came in fast, and Hayden obliged nicely. He's got one to his name, because Isaiah Hayden. Roosts the left foot. No, he feigned instead. And it worked out perfectly too, because there was no risk involved with it. And Darcy Lupka has found space to take that mark. Carefully crafted. There's a lot of times we see that doesn't quite come off when the player taking a shot on goal does that late dummy, but it did on that occasion for Hayden, and he should be rewarded in kind here. No, he's not. Royals must have made a phone call to the footy gods, I think, on that one. Another anti-climax, unfortunately. First blemish for the Bulls, 3-1-19. They trail by 16 points, 5-5-35. Here's the Royals score. And coming out and not getting far at all, Penny. He was pinned down. 1, 2, 3, gone. As soon as he realised that he was being tackled, he basically said, fair enough, you've got this. I plead mercy, I cry uncle. Really did look like it was in slow motion, that one, to be fair, as well. Unfortunate for him, but anyway, good forward pressure. Why Mount Barker this time? They need this. It's Wiseman, who has been their most dangerous forward so far, or one of. Rises up on his left foot for a little while to see if they can get the extra balance, and it works for him. Unconventional approach for some, but extremely conventional for Dante Wiseman. He's got 10 goals for the season, 30 in his 21-game career. Mount Barker pull one back vitally in the shadows of quarter time. 29 gone. It's 4-1-25 to 5-5 at 35 here at Sooners Park. So we also like to thank Phoenix Painting and Decorating for Mark of the Year. Michael and his hard-working crew jumping on board to lend their financial support to this wonderful football league, which has already had its full quota of matches where everyone's played everyone once so far. So we start the fixtures again this week, as that one is taken out of bounds. Here the interchanges for a throw-in by Darcy Lupka. That one thrown in now. Immediately a tackle applied. Good work to lock Ryan Flick in. It was done by Declan Wood, who has had a busy quarter. Hasn't a lot of disposals, but he's certainly been involved with good pressure acts and 1%ers as the siren sounds. And a very entertaining first term, thoroughly enjoyed. And yeah, apologies again if you weren't able to hear the commentary in the first couple of minutes. We certainly have got you locked and loaded right now. So 10-point margin is what the Royals Lions will take into the first change. They're 5-5-35. Mount Barker are 4-1-25. Goal kickers for the Lions, Tyrese Brown has 2, Travis Conn 2, and Ryan Kinnear, 40-year-old, who doesn't look a day over 20. He also has a goal which, for me, is a contender for the Suggs Timber Machinery and Joinery Goal of the Year. And on the other side of the ledger, saw that Dante Wiseman, he got their last goal, Mount Barker, and he joined Campbell McMahon, Jackson Craig, and also Isaiah Hayden. We'll take a quick break, and we will be back ready for the second quarter here on Filming Footy, all thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Allen Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision, Albany and Premium Grains. Lube will only be back with you shortly. And you're back here on Filming Footy with Louis Bulzomi in association with Classic Clashes. All thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Allen Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision, Albany and Premium Grains. It is the round 6 clash in the Great Southern Football League between Mount Barker and Royals at Solanus Park. Second quarter underway. The Lions up by 10 points. And we get a restart. We've also got a few updated name changes. I do apologise. I've been calling number 15 for the Lions, Tyrese Brown's what we had him in the budget, in the guide. It's actually Rory Sutherland out there. And much to my embarrassment, he's kicked 2 goals. So there you go, Rory Sutherland. Just AI the Brown name out, put Sutherland in, and you're all fine for the replay of the first quarter. But anyway, Rory Sutherland has 2 goals for the Lions. Travis Conn, that is definitely number 22. He has a couple. And Old Man River, Ryan Kinnear, who just keeps on chugging along. No matter whether he's 40 or 140, he's got the other goal. He was part of Western Australia's over 35s premiership winning side in the Masters Carnival last year against the Northern Territory in Darwin. As we resume play, coming out of defence here for the Royals, and they pick up where they left off in the opening term. Boy, they moved the football brilliantly. On board now here as it was originally stifled by the Bulls and ricocheted back by the Lions, and now the Bulls back in possession yet again through Souness on his own park inside 50 just. Mark is taken by Wallinger. Bryson Wallinger now just waits for something to present itself. It was Hayden once again. This time it was well fisted away. Worker and McNamara coming in, the skipper who's back this week. Downs for a throw-in. Apologies there, just a little technical glitch once again. We just lost you for a few seconds. We're back on board again, and there is the captain, who, as we mentioned, was missing last week in the clash against Denmark Walpole. Back once again for his 5th game of the season. Unfortunately, though, for him and the Lions, they weren't able to get an effective rebound 50. Mount Barker's pressure much better this time, and they've been able to steer the ball in towards McMahon, who has a goal to his name. See what he can do here to add to his second. It's a not bad kick. Has it held its line? Not quite. Just the one behind. It's going back to that Tyrese Brown, Rory Sutherland mix up. My apologies. I had Rory down as number 44 from the budget, and the updated team sheet has him wearing 15. Just to confirm that. As Royals now bring it out towards right half back. Mark taken by Connor Lasers, a few of them with that surname in this lineup. As Penny now takes the mark, and this time he won't just stand still and allow McMahon or Wiseman to tackle him like he did in the first quarter. Quite late in the piece was Dante Wiseman, the man who did catch him down. Penny was able to get it away that time as we get a ball up. True centre wing on the scoreboard side. Up on his own was Powell that time. And you see that often with ruckman, where they go unopposed in the ruck and they don't tend to get the advantage like they would like. I mean, he was trying to just guide that one down. Maybe that could have been a big thump forward if someone had been quick onto it further up the ground for the Lions. But in any case, no damage done, though. They haven't conceded away the stoppage clearance to Mount Barker as we get yet another stoppage. And he goes up again. This time misses the ball completely. So it's a set play for Mount Barker. They're certainly trying to fool Powell into it, draw him into the sole contest and see whether they can just rove off him. Hasn't worked for them, though, this time, as Cooper Childs, we did have him as Stanton initially. Again, that was part of the name listed in the budget. We apologise. It is Cooper Childs in the 39. We've just got that confirmation. As we get yet another ball up, and there again is Powell on his own. This time he did get hand to ball. And while it didn't go directly to Childs, eventually he's able to get the clearance away. So can the Royals make the Bulls pay here? Not quite. Ball still in dispute at centre-half forward. It's a good little scrap at ground level. Riley Connolly involved. And then the umpire will call it back once again. So around the grounds, live scores. Railways 7-6-48 lead North Albany 1-1-7. And Denmark Walpole 3-1-19 lead Albany 1-2-8. So is there a boil-over happening between Denmark Walpole and Albany? It's clearly not going to be the case between North Albany and Railways at the present time. So as we know, the logjam at the top of the table. Top three sides all on 4 wins and 1 loss, including the Royals right now, who have possession through their captain in McNamara. Has he cleared everybody? Oh, he did, except for the right-hand goalpost. Unfortunate, that one. Just the one behind, but it's our first score of the term. Or second score, I should say. Might have been when we had that loss in transmission where Mount Barker did get a behind. Credited to Rush, 4-2-26 to 5-6-36 now the score. Or is it the other way around? We'll just reconfirm that. As the ball now back in possession here for the Lions. It's taken by Ashford. He's kick up the line. Well read by Briers for the Bulls. Inboard kick. Ambitious one, risky one. It could pay off at the back though. Mark initially not taken by Griffiths, but he had some support through Wallinger. But then his handball was an absolute shocker. Run read now again by the Lions. And was it Saxon Hendrickson? I've got him as number 21. Yes, it was. And Statler now has the football. He finds Ashford, who's getting busy now, the big fella. Pumping ball inside 50. Shallow entry, but still a good one, though. Bulls equal to the task this occasion, though. The handball out towards the boundary line. They'll have to try and touch it before it goes out. They do, and they keep it in play nicely. That was good. Mark taken by Wallinger, who will look to try and make amends here for that really lackadaisical handball that caused the turnover in the previous passage of play. That's a hell of a lot better. Much, much better. And they've got some open territory to work with here. And the mark is taken nicely on the leap by McMahon. We saw Hayden do that a couple of times in the first quarter. McMahon now showing us that he has that same talent. On the back of 4 goals last week against North Albany, has got 1 already today. 96 in his senior career. Sensational Colts player as well. League representative also. As that one drifts to the right, I think. Yep, it's the one behind. So we've got score at 4-3-27 to 5-5-35 on the graphic. I reckon it's 5-6-36 for Royals because that shot from McNamara did smack the bottom of the right-hand goalpost. We'll get that confirmation at half-time. We won't worry about it for the time being. As Mount Barker, all of a sudden now they're the ones that are applying that turnover pressure just out of 50, and Hayden represents yet again and takes the mark. So Gary Pope obviously got stuck into his charges at quarter time and addressed that concern about the easy ball coming out of defence for them and how the Royals were able to make them pay, especially with their forward press in the first term. And now it's Mount Barker's turn to apply that plan, and it's working for the time being, but they still have yet to convert the goal. Hayden now does so. So a timely goal, that one, for the home side. Isaiah Hayden gets it, and he's got 2. And we're back to under a kick the difference. Here at Sooners Park. Once again, take the opportunity to thank the GSFL's naming rights sponsor, Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, minor sponsor, Albany Triple M, Goal of the Year sponsor, Suggs Timber Machinery and Joinery, and the Mark of the Year sponsor, Phoenix Painting and Decorating. In the middle, And Barker all of a sudden now running general play. So what can the Lions do in response? Natali Trikilo gets involved. A little 1-2 handball in close quarters to Power. Now they get the kick away, but they lose possession once more. Saxon Henriksen couldn't get the good read of that. Now the Bulls get it back towards left half forward here. That's as far as it goes. Even though they did lose possession momentarily. Good tackle by Luca. Good proactive tackle that time. Darcy Luca. Ball up. Almost losing his footing there was Big Powell. And now the kick tumbles into the left forward pocket. Oh, what about that for a trap from Seb Ballard? Can he get the goal? No, he hit the barrel of the Burley, hit the belly of the Burley. And it just floated. And the Royals defence said thank you very much and put a few on the end of it with a sigh and breath of relief. But will it come back with interest though? Good pressure again here from Reid for the Bulls. Then the little throw handball over the top, not paid by the umpire, and good enough too, because he did get a fist on it, did Declan Wood. Unfortunately, though, because it was a look away, he didn't realise there were blue jumpers there, but it's turned over. Back again. This is Large and in charge, inside 50. Tight up against the boundary line, but that's going to work okay for Mount Barker, because I'll get another look at this one. Throw in 30 from goal. Apologies there, just lost transmission once again on the commentary feed, but we're back once more, as once again trying to get it out of defence were Royals, but only as far though as the man taking the shot on goal right now. Jackson Craig, who has one, will he join Hayden with two? It's a good one. Has it made the carry? I think it has. Boom, there it is. That umpire took a little bit of extra time there just to build some suspense with getting the two fingers in, and you had to really get the telescope out to see the two fingers go up, but sense of theatre, I love it. So Craig's got a couple, and the Bulls hit the lead. Certainly know the right of screen is the favoured side at the present time, even though still the left of screen saw 4 goals kicked to it in that first term. What a game we have here for you now. Just when you thought that Royals were going to really start to kick away, that has not happened at all. Now Mount Barker, they've got all the running. As they bring it out of defence once again, keeping his footing there is Ballard. Sidesteps around one, gets onto the left. Made it a little bit too hard for himself in the air. Hayden tries to save it, couldn't quite. And one behind is the result. But Mount Barker, boy, they are playing some high, intense football at the moment. Good movement of the ball. And looked like pretty much what Royals were doing the majority of the first term themselves. It's unfortunate for them they were only able to get a 10-point lead as their reward. Straight kicking will certainly help Mount Barker out. This time the Royals, though, have to go to plan B and just protect the football. They do so with a chain of marks here. Mark taken this time by Ryan Laser. And short ball's good as well to Ashford. So definitely short and protective with this build-up until that kick there. So now Mount Barker get another look at it. It's Zach Reid, not the Essendon Zach Reid, who gets the footy, but unfortunately, though, took an eternity to make up his mind, and that invited the captain, McNamara, to latch on to tackle, and this could be quite costly for Mount Barker on the overlay because, like I said, they've had so much of the play, and they might lose one against the grain here, and it's a hyphenated one. Chandler, Askval, McDonald. The 30-year-old. It's the one game so far this season, which was last week. It's played 83 leading into today with 34 goals. Make it 35. Coach killer for Mount Barker. As they lose the lead, so we just got to look at the scoreboard there, and it shows 6-5-41 to 6-4-40. So maybe that behind for Declan McNamara wasn't paid in the end. Maybe there was a whistle just before it hit that post, because certainly the shot on goal definitely cleared everyone, and then it just rolled and rolled. It only had the goal line to beat, but the post got in the way, so maybe it was a free kick called before that score was effective. But we will get that confirmation at half-time. Either way, though, we do have Royals in front, whether it's 1 point or 2 points, doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is they are in front. Courtesy of that goal to Askval McDonald. So Mount Barker, can they reply in kind here? Oh, that's a solid mark. And it's that man again, doing it at both ends. There's a contender for Mark of the Year. In this game anyway, definitely Mark of the Day, given how tough it was to take. Great contested work. And he releases Coyne, who gets out towards Kinnear at right half forward, who sees that one go across for a throw-in. As I mentioned, the Phoenix Painting and Decorating Mark of the Year. Well, you might just reserve those for the big speckies. Sometimes the tough contested marks, the highly difficult ones, are the ones that really capture, especially yours truly's eyes, Louis Balzami, as a little kick off the ground was clever there from Askval McDonald, starting to really get involved. McNamara gets this one inside 54 Royals. That one there popped out of nowhere to the goal line. Big fight. Con trapped it nicely. Gets boot to it. And now, sorry, big old man Kinnear, I think this is your Suggs Timber and Machinery and Joinery Goal of the Year contender. Con's got 3. As far as his opponent was concerned, he was conned by the wizardry, the trickery of the man in the 22 for the Lions. Absolute club stalwart, a great servant of football in WA. They go now to 7, well, the graphic says 7-5-47. Could well be 7-6-48. Again, we will confirm that at half-time. Now Barker 6-4-40. And restart here again. Good piling pressure there from Alex Skinner for Mount Barker to lock that one in inside the centre square again, as we get an opportunity to come out through McMahon, who had a good first quarter. A little bit quieter since, but now back into the fray, probably just part of the rotations going through the middle that Gary Pope is implementing. There's a scrap here. Well, speaking of getting involved now, certainly Captain Fantastic for the Royals is doing so. McNamara breaking away from that stoppage, but unfortunately, though, this one's going to be rebounded one way than the other by the Bulls through Jacob Souness, and that change of direction works nicely here to Connolly. Connolly made his debut back in round 1 against the Royals. He's played every game this season. He's been the best of the first 3 games so far. Has played at higher levels as well. Next, North Fremantle in the Perth Football League. And speaking of the Devil, he's back on cue once again, following up nicely. Wants Hayden, but Hayden was caught behind that time. Good work from Smith to get in front of him. Brings the ball to ground, and we get a stalemate and a ball up. Ballard last with the football. Him and Liam Seal involved in a good little tussle to try and extract that footy, and they called a draw on that one. There's now Askval McDonald, who's now replaced Powell in the ruck. Gets this one back inside the centre square. Tackling pressure here from Mount Barker, and that was courtesy of the 44 in Jai Willis, another inclusion in today's lineup. Right in there, and just losing half of his shorts there was Griffiths. He's got the handball away, but it's turned over. This one here now comes back into the possession of Briers. It was a tricky ball to pick up, though. It bamboozled a couple of teammates and opponents ahead of him. And now, oh, look at Kinnear. Dreidel spinning all the way around like a ballerina. Who said he's 40-plus years old? As this one comes to right half forward. And the mark there is taken by Ashford, who's having a good impact on this game. It clears the target. Was it touched? Doesn't matter in the end because getting back is Souness. Rides a tackle. Wants the goal line for the rush behind. Will it be confirmed behind? I think it will be. And it is. Finger goes up. Flag goes up. So rush behind for Royals. We now go to 7-6-48 or 7-7-49. We will again get that confirmation at half time. 6-4-40 for Mount Barker. So after Mount Barker dominated the first probably 15 minutes or so of this second term and got their noses in front, the Royals have righted the ship since and got themselves back on course. So we'll see what Mount Barker can do in response here. They put the switch on play now to the scoreboard side, taken by Willis. Inside 50, on the bounce, Reed draws his opponent in. The opponent there being Cameron lays up. And now Mount Barker, chance towards Hayden and Ballard, the two tall timbers up forward. Neither can take the mark. And the Royals happy to just rush that through. Last gasp style for a behind. So, effectively a kick the difference in this contest as turnover here. And this is what Mount Barker were doing so well for the most part of this quarter. It was Ballard who cut that one off. Inboard kick, not quite working out to Dante Robinson. It's been held up for another ball up. Or will it be a Hayden ball? Yep, it's a free kick. There's been some illegal contact without the footy in and amongst all that, so Hayden will have a chance to kick his third. And close the gap to the barest of margins. Here he comes. It's a casual poke with the left foot, and it works. Works a treats. Told you that Hayden name in WA football is legendary. With the way he presents himself up forward, especially with those time leaps and big jukes, he could well be on his way to being Mount Barker Bulls legend if he already isn't one in his young career so far. 5:47 to 7:7:49 is what I've got. 7:6:48 to 7:4:46 is the graphic score. Either way, 2 points in favour of Royals. We now have 23 and a quarter minutes gone in the second turn, so still some time left for another goal or two. This has been top shelf football in round 6 of the Great Southern Football League in 2026. As Flick now gets the clearing kick away for the Royals towards right half forward. Kinnear, good pressure on one. Great pressure on the other. As the kick comes in, Hospital. Connolly did very, very well. Wasn't fearing who was coming towards him as Rory Sutherland looks like he's a bit hurt when trying to get the fist in on that. And holding the ball free kick's going to be paid here. So for all that good work that Connolly did, even though it was a Hospital ball coming into him, they've coughed the ball up here, Mount Barker, and it wasn't him that actually coughed it up in the end. So unfortunate. See a red time opportunity shot on goal. Taken by the Lions here. It's going to be falling short. Mark taken, is it? Inside the line? Yes. Right forward pocket. And then the ball inboard now into the hands of Ashford. So, Nick Ashford more this game has gone on, the more he's having a say in things, especially between the arcs, and now he can have a huge say inside the attacking arc in the shadows of half-time. Through it goes. Umpire didn't have to move. And Royals get a mini break again. Just under a kick and a half in front. As I said, we will get that halftime confirmed score for you. The graphic there on your screens, 8-6-54 to 7-4-46. I've got 8-7-55 to 7-5-47 myself. So again, we will confirm which way that is. Apologies for repeating yourself on that one, but either way, 8-point lead to the Lions. So now the big man Power back in ruck for Royals. Loses that one though as Mount Barker get the clearance away. Intended target was Wiseman. He was caught in quite a sea of players on that occasion, but did well though to affect the tackle. The umpire will call it back. So now Power back in defence here for Royals up against Hayden that time. They do win the clearance through flick to the Lions. But it'll only be Connolly who will go back as the quarterback to mop that one up. But then another little coughed up handball. Oh, dangerous stuff here for Mount Barker, but they get out of it nicely through Reed. Who, as the surname suggests, did exactly that. The footy coming towards him to cut that one off. And that should be, if it's not high, it's going to be holding the ball. And it's the lad up. Soonest may have just ducked the head when the tackle was affected. So well played by Travis Conn, who has 3 goals so far. He and Isaiah Hayden, the leading goal scorers for each of their sides. Inside 50 it goes. Good tackle once again there, Ashford. But the ball did jar free at the end from Adam Large. As far as it went, though, the follow-up possession not disposed of. So a ball up inside 50 for the Royals. Tumbles towards the back. Hill there for deliberate. It trickles out of bounds. Umpire will have none of that. So throw in, left forward pocket for the Lions. Oh, taken out of the ruck. I told you he's having an impact, this man, Ashford. Didn't really connect on that one properly. It went straight up into the air. Didn't get any penetration on it. Kinnear was on hands and knees. Diving in to try and tackle there was Willis for the Bulls. He did okay there. Stopped the secondary attempt by the Lions to get a score late. Ball up. Either ruckman could get that tap down there. Griffiths tries to follow up again for the Bulls and does well to hold up the skipper for the Lions in McNamara. Approaching half-time. The tap out here. McNamara goes back. And speaking of back, was he crunched into it by Soonest? Umpire said no. He got a roll and a tackle just right. Just perfectly. The umpire to say ball up. And the big man once again, Ashford, gets the tap down to space, but the Mount Barker players there, although this time though at centre wing, it's well read and intercepted by Penny. Waste no time getting around the man on the mark who really didn't want to be there. Kick inside 50. Attacking it but not taking it was Ryan Laser out the back. Oh, this could be dangerous for Mount Barker. Who's at the feet of this one? It comes off and it's taken by Coyne. And he hops, skips and jumps into that kick. They've got their 9th on the board now to the Royals Lions. Margin out to 14 points. A tick away from 29 minutes gone in this second quarter. That hurts for the home side. That seriously hurts. That's 6 individual goal kickers now for Royals. Leading the way is Con with 3, Sutherland 2. Apologies for calling him Brown in the first quarter because we have a confusion of names on the team sheets. So we've got the confirmed ones that came through at quarter time. And singles to Kinnear, Askeval, McDonald, and also Coyne and Ashford. And there's Ryan Laser now riding the tackle inside the middle. We get a ball up. Goal kickers on the other side of the ledger for Mount Barker. Isaiah Hayden with 3. Jackson Craig 2. McMahon and Wiseman, other goal scorers for their 7. Holding the ball decision has been made here by the umpire. And Powell not happy with it. Loses it to his opposite ruck in Griffiths. As the siren sounds, a wailing siren, which we love hearing at a lot of country grounds. To end the first half, another 30 minutes elapsing. And again, good football all around. That quarter, for the most part, did belong to Mount Barker, but unfortunately, even though they did snatch the lead back halfway through, they weren't able to go on with it, and the Lions made them pay for a couple of vital defensive errors to re-establish their advantage once again. Margin at 14 points. And we will get confirmation on what the exact score is soon. So the scoreboard at Sooners Park actually has Royals leading by 13 points, 9,660 to 7,547. The Film and Footy graphic has 9,660 to 7,446. I have 9,761 to 7,547. Whichever way you read it, it's the Royals by a couple of goals and a behind or two. We will get that confirmed for you once we come back after this break. You're with Louis Balzami here for Film in Footy's coverage of the Great Southern Football League Round 6 clash between the Mount Barker Bulls and the Royals Lions, the beginning of the second block of fixtures in the GSFL. It's the GSFL, proudly sponsored by their naming rights sponsor, Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, Albany Triple M, the minor sponsor, Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery, the Goal of the Year sponsor, and Phoenix Painting and Decorating, the Mark of the Year sponsor. While Film in Footy is brought to you by Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, the Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's Footwear, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision Albany, and Premium Grains. We will be back in a few minutes' time, ready to bring you the second half. Welcome back to Filming Footy's coverage of round 6 of the Great Southern Football League at Sooners Park in Mount Barker, where the home side Bulls trail by 13 points against equal top Royals Lions, who are only third because of the percentage split between themselves and the other two front runners, which include the reigning premiers Railways and also the always there Albany. Louis Bulzomi here along with you, all thanks to Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, McKimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, the Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision, Albany and Premium Grains. Well, GSFL is proudly sponsored by Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, the name your right sponsor, Albany Triple M, the minor sponsor, Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery, the Goal of the Year sponsor, and Phoenix Painting and Decorating, the Mark of the Year sponsor. So we thank James and the boys at Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, Rogan and his crew at Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery, and also Michael and his hardworking crew at Phoenix Painting and Decorating for jumping on board. So, third quarter underway. We have confirmation now that the score for the Royals is 9-6-60, so that behind that we thought was paid to the skipper Declan McNamara, where the ball smacked the bottom part of the padding of the right post, actually was not paid, as there was a free kick given to Mount Barker just before the ball made contact. So no score for that one, while the score for Mount Barker was 7-5-47. So that's the official score at the moment. 13-point lead to the Lions. Can the Bulls make inroads into it early on here? Craig inside 50, handball loose, was good from Ballard to Hayden, steering it, but not enough in the end. Didn't have enough power steering, needed more lubricant. Just the one behind, but it was a fair effort from him, though, in the early minute of this third term. With the Bulls kicking down the McDonald Avenue end to the left of your screen to start this second half. Margin back now to 2 straight goals. Once again, a turnover. Hack kick. Missing. One behind only. Looming large again are the Bulls. Promising start, in contrast to the first quarter, where it was really the Lions who set the play early but weren't able to establish a sizable lead for their efforts, which kept the Bulls intact with them. This time it's Mount Barker who are doing what they did in the second quarter and having all the play. And once again, they affect the turnover from the Kane Pinney kick in. Handball backwards was good, didn't do the old U-turn. But now they've got a little problem to the Bulls. They've coughed it up momentarily into the hands of Cameron Smith, not to be confused with the Melbourne Storm legend, and a ball up at centre half forward. So they got the gang tackle on, though, did Mount Barker. Instead of like the first quarter where they would make the mistake and then be made to pay for it down the other end, this time when they are making the mistakes, they're quickly getting on defence and locking it up. But this time, though, Royals have found a way out. Con presents again. Big kick forward to the advantage of the big man in Ashford with the flight. Actually, I don't think it was Ashford in the end. It was actually Ashton Hendrickson, the 34, instead of the 24. My apologies. It was the latter. And he was given a bit of a shove, I think. No? Yes? No. Umpire, I thought, got in position for the mark then, but it's gone to the boundary umpire's hands. So it will be a throw-in. I think he was appealing for it, though. Ashton Hendrickson, you know, the old fair catch in NFL circles, as that one there is skied towards the face of goals into the goal square, punched over the line for a rush behind, going the way of the Lions. So their first score for the second half, a minor one. A couple of minor ones the other way. 7-7-49 Mount Barker. Royals 9-7-61. Just gone over 3 minutes in this third quarter. Mark taken by Connolly. We'll see the Great Southern Football League, a great feeder league for Claremont in the Waffle. Plenty of Claremont Colts and also even reserve and even senior Waffle representatives, including the skipper for Royals in Declan McNamara, who's playing game number 91 for the club today. Did spend a couple of years on Claremont's senior list not all that long ago. There's the Royals now back in possession here. Centre wing on the soccer pitch side. They turn it over into the hands of another man who has Had some experience at higher levels. North Fremantle in the Perth Footy League in Connolly. He's had a good game off half-back today. Good extractor. Certainly well entrusted to be that distributor from the back line and getting around and also intercepting at vital moments with the ball at ground level too. As a free kick here is found centre wing to Jacob Sunis. Short ball's a good one, and Connolly once again. Be surprised if his stats have now exceeded 20 towards 30 already. As this one is steered into Wiseman, who he loves a goal or a goal assist. Either way, inside the square, picture perfect pass. Ballard takes the mark, diving deep. There's only going to ever be one of two results, a goal to Wiseman or a goal assist to Ballard. So please, Seb, I'll put you on the mark now. Do not make this a commentator's curse. Thanks, mate. Well done. Good work. And that gets the home fans' invoice. A few beeps to the car horns creeping in, and we've got quite a game on our hands here. Goal the difference. Equal top Royals, along with Railways and Albany, 4-1 so far this season. 9-7-61 are going to be made to really earn it today against the Mount Barker side. Keen for redemption. Got their second win of the year last week, which was a massive thumping of North Albany by 88 points. But back in round one, it was Royals by 40 points on their home deck at Retrovision Stadium. On that day, Con kicked 3. He's got 3 so far as well. Mount Barker are making a big case for it today at the present time as we get the restart. And they get it into their attacking half. Last man up with the football there, William Bryers, but they can't exit the centre square for the time being. It was that 6-2 third quarter that really ripped Mount Barker apart in that round one clash. Despite leading at quarter time by 5 points, also a 5-0 second term. So the middle 2 quarters is what really cost them in the end. 11 goals to 2 conceded. That led to that 40-point victory by Royals. As we go forward yet again, there's Kinnear, looming large. Decided against going for goal, though. Didn't think there was an opening, but there is an opening now here on the ricochet. Ball comes around, but misses to the left for one behind only. Probably a bit too early to say handy point because we're only in the third quarter, but they all count. Margin now at 7 points. 9-8-62 to 8-7-55 the score. Turnover here, right half forward for the Lions. And it was that man once again, Ashford. I really loved his play today. He's been in everything. He's been a solid presence wherever they put him on the ground. And now he's found one of the smallest blokes going around. And it's an appropriate number for him too. Those who can remember the great Tony Liberatore for Footscray and the Western Bulldogs, 39, 1990 Brownlow medalist, Cooper Childs. He's got a couple of behinds to his name, but he's got a major now. Look at that steering perfectly. That was some exquisite spinach of the air conveyance. It's like reverse parking in a shopping centre in a tight, confined space. That was how well navigated and steered that shot on goal was by Childs. After a couple of behinds in the first quarter for him, back to back, he now has a major to his name and the margin back out to 13 points in favour of the Lions. They come forward again. It's coming in like a steam train. There was Con around the left. Didn't get the bend he would like, but he did get it to touch, did he? Or was it out of bounds on the full? The weight confirmation. I think it was the latter. So Zach Reid will bring the ball back into play for Mount Barker out of the right back pocket. We decide to go the short one here to Bryers. It'll be the easiest option or just hug the line. Hit the boundary line. as was the call back in 1966 for St Kilda. As that one comes out, was thrown away backwards by Stephen Coyne for Royals, but he had some players there, and I think it was all part of the plan. One of those being Childs. Shrugs one, evades another with a 360 spin to die for. Inside 50 it goes, and then the footy had enough. Another anticlimax, unfortunately. Now Zach Reid takes the saving intercept mark for Mount Barker, and this time he does use Bryars. Probably should have thought of that the first time. So Will Bryars now, no man on the mark, so he gains a few extra metres, and that's a good clunk by Ballard. Goal to his name in this quarter already. Courtesy of the bullet pass from Wiseman into him in the goal square. And that was some vice-like grip of the football, the big burly from him there. The kick, though, let him down, but luckily enough for him, it was touched off hands in dispute for a throw-in, so not last disposal out of bounds. From the restart there, Saxon Henriksen brought down. Ball spills free. There's Powell again. He's scrapped into everything today, the big fella. Yeah, the mop-head specialist. And unfortunately, though, this time he loses it. It'll go the way of Darcy Libka. Libka's kick short is good to Declan Wood. Now he just sits this one up high. Who could take that one? They've been pretty good at clunky knees. And Ballard is the man again. Let's Powell know about it. And he'll go back and line up from a lot further out than his last attempt on goal. So won't be his fault if he misses this one. I won't be as harsh a critic as I was the previous attempt when I said that it could only be two results, either a Wiseman goal or a Wiseman goal assist. Luckily, the latter prevailed. But anyway, that was some contested mark, that one from Seb Ballard to bring the margin back to 7 points. Good approach, but just drifting to the right. And the minor score, so 2 straight kicks now is that margin. 11-minute mark of the third quarter. At 8:56, brother for Mount Barker. 10:8:68, sister for Royals. There's Mount Barker again. Intercept, turnover, forward 50 re-entry, shot on goal. That was off the boot of Wiseman, who did not like the attention he received whatsoever from Smith and lets him know about it and gets in his face and then grabs his jumper, and they're going to have a couple of rounds while we try and keep following the football here. You can watch the fight. I have to watch the footy, otherwise I can't call it. As the ball comes back now for Mount Barker over on the Library wing scoreboard side. Into the hands of Bryars. Bryars steers a pass, ill-directed though. Once again, the Royals stand resolute down back. Flick has the football now. Could have had Cameron Laser as one of his targets. Instead, he just lets that one get taken by a teammate who now finds Childs. Childs, he's steering to a teammate just as exquisite as he's steering through the big sticks. Saxon Henriksen takes it. Inside 50. Con couldn't grab it. Had to beat 2. Comes back towards him again. Helping him was Cam Laser, who pushed forward nicely. Had to really get his skates on to get there to help out, and he did it superb. But unfortunately, though, it doesn't quite work out for the Lions. Bulls now get it towards centre wing here on the soccer pitch side. Charging away now, Keegan Taylor, who we can confirm is in the number 2. We thought it was Aiden Reid. Reid wore number 2 last week. He's in number 4 today. So it was Taylor that time. Just a little overzealous, though. Lost the football, even though he didn't lose any speed. But thankfully, though, Connolly again saves the day for Mount Barker. Unfortunately, though, can't find a target further afield. And it's Childs once more, who's had a big third term. Got a goal. And some vital disposals in between the arcs as well. There's that conduit. Ball's a good one here. As they send this one inside 50, Con, he knew he couldn't get that mark, pulled out of it, and then the momentum cannoned into Aiden Reid, and Reid will take the free kick. Certainly that one is there. As we mentioned, just with confirmations of the finalised team sheets, which were some changes from what we had available to us pre-game. Keegan Taylor wearing 2. Aiden Reid, who wore number 2 last week. Man on cue right now. Oh, no, sorry, that's not him right now. It's Alexander Skinner. But Reid, who was the recipient of that free kick before given away by Con, has number 4 for Mount Barker. As Briars, who's starting to get pretty busy in this term as well, entrusted with plenty of rebound 50 activity. Gets one high, I think, there against McNamara. So he'll take the free kick, William Briars. Originally from Bridgewater in South Australia. Also spent some time in the Sandful and under 16s and 18s level for Sturt. The mighty Double Blues, as this one inboard is marked by Declan Wood again, I think it is. It is. He goes to right half forward. Finds something he likes out there. That's Willis, the 44. Scrappy kick, but it might just come off. Banana attempt. Check side, if you will. The crowd will tell a story on that one. It's wowed everybody. McMahon, I think it was. They all get around him. Yes, it is. Put that one right up there for the Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery Goal of the Year contender. Game on again. Just one goal of difference. 10-8-68 to 9-8-62. McMahon with one for the ages there. Wasn't the best pass coming into him, but he made the ball talk. And if anything, the incomplete pass to him just added to the flair of that kick. Sensational work, and Mount Barker really have the wind up their sails now. As they get the clearance towards centre forward, Ballard the target, got a hand to it, brought it to ground. Now goes and rows it again, burrows his way through, but then brought down by Connor Laser. Ball jars free, only for a moment though. The opposite 6, Skinner, takes the mark. Beating Coyne to the punch, and then kick in board. Hayden, that time through his fingers, unfortunately. Just a little slippery. As the Royals avert the danger, keeping an inside play here is Asphalt McDonald, who had a massive second quarter. Haven't seen a lot of him in this term, though. We're due to rotation requirements, but he's there in the fray now and ready to take this ruck contest. See if he can try and force it forward. He doesn't. He's got a couple of teammates who do. And we'll get a ball up true centre wing on this scoreboard. And Mount Barker Public Library side. One goal of difference in favour of the Lions. Remember, they beat Mount Barker by 40 points on their home deck back in round 1 at Retrovision Stadium. Vastly different contest today, as we expect this one to potentially go down to the wire, and we certainly hope so here on Film in Footy. Louis Balzami bringing you the commentary. It's now Mount Barker back in possession after a little bit of kick-to-kick schoolyard work from both sides. Seth Jones, pumping ball. Good work from the big fella once again in Asphalt McDonald to be the screen player for the Lions, but couldn't complete the mark. Now out the back, McMahon finds Hayden, who didn't really have anyone in front of him until someone popped into his line of vision in Smith, but too late. He's got 4, and we have an all-square ball game. (10-8-68). Copy and paste. Brilliant fight back by the Bulls. Again, just when you thought that Mount Barker would probably start to lose their resistance, as the threat of a breakaway was there again for Royals at patches in this third term. They've strung a couple together through McMahon and Hayden. McMahon with a true goal of the year contender thanks to Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery. And then Hayden that time just waiting patiently at the back until the ball arrived to him. And it was McMahon involved in that play as well. And we have A tied-up ball game. So what can the captain do here for Royals in McNamara? He finds a target further afield, and it's a good one too. Into Ashton Henriksen. Waste no time to get the handball free, and then the kick further afield is okay too to a leading Laser. That's Ryan Laser. Game number 33. 47 goals. He's kicked for Royals. As we mentioned earlier this year, the only team he hasn't scored a goal against was Mount Barker in that 40-point victory, and it's still the case so far. So we'll see if he can break the shackles against the Bulls here. No, he can't. He does put Royals back in front by that minor score. 10-9, 69 to 10-8, 68. As we'll see whether they can get a repeat entry inside 50. We've seen both sides really show very good effectiveness at repeat entries and turnovers from the initial kick in. That time, no. Mount Barker do get a free kick in a secondary possession, but only as far, though, on the near side soccer pitch wing as Cameron Smith. Now the Royals steer this one inside 50. Shallow entry. There is Ashford once more. They all guard around him, but now Saxon Henriksen finds space at the back. Can't clear the desperate hands of Lee Pavlovich. Another inclusion today from the team that played last week against North Albany in that massive 88-point win to really get season 2026 on track for the Bulls. Unfortunately, though, he's turned it over, and here's a shot on goal. I think this is Roy Sutherland. Missing nothing at all. Missing absolutely everywhere except between the big sticks, and that's the result that they need, do the Royals. Just to restore a little bit of order for them. So he's got 3 now, Roy Sutherland. And the score now goes to 11-9-75 for Royals. Mount Barker 10-8, 68. With Louisville's Amy here on Filming Footy for Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, the Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision, Albany, and Premium Grains. As from the restart, clearing it is Declan Wood. Tumbling ball. Just trickles inside 50 now. Latching onto that was Dante Robinson. Kick comes to the top of the square. McMahon, 1 hand, 2 hands. Knew he had to play on. And just scraped the post, did he? Despite the premature celebrations of the car horns. Unfortunate, that one for the Bulls. But they do bring it back to one straight kick again. 10-9, 69 to 11-9, 75. As the Royals lines prevent a repeat entry from the kick-in. The mark taken there, true centre wing, near the interchange gates by Statler. And they're paddled 1% style from Ryan Laser. And then kept in play nicely by his counterpart there in Cam Laser. And then old man Kinnear runs back and takes it with the flight. I told you. He's the perfect example of age merely being a number. North of 40, was a star, as we mentioned, for Western Australia in the Masters Carnival at over 35s and over 40s. A premiership medal around his neck from the top end, and he steers that one home for his second. Good on you, Ryan Kinnear. May you play until you're 100 and then some. So margin now back out to 2 goals for the Royals. Biggest margin for them was 17 points, 25-minute mark of the first quarter when Travis Conn kicked his second goal. Now we'll see whether or not they can finally break that Mount Barker resistance. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though, because Mount Barker have proven that they're here for the fight all the way. Still have a little over a quarter to go. Still plenty of time in this quarter as well. Both the first 2 quarters went for 30 minutes. There have been plenty of goals kicked in this one as well. Certainly hope that both sides can get north of 100 in their points total when this is all said and done, as this one here is just hot potatoed like inside the centre square, and eventually McNamara is the man with the footy, and he's brought to ground. We'll get a ball up. Work by Souness on his own park. He's reaching up there, just timing his leap better than Powell on that occasion was Griffiths. Powell does well, though, to follow up with a good tackle. And he stops Declan Wood in his tracks. So another ball up will ensue. So, once again, another rugby scrum. That's third tackle. So don't forget the Perth Bears soon to enter the NRL. Don't forget Papua New Guinea also on the horizon in a couple of years' time to expand the competition out to 19 teams. Of course, the AFL, we know Tasmania ready to enter in 2028. Thankfully, their government, after winning the title election, able to tick off the stadium there as a mark almost taken by Ryan Laser in and amongst half a dozen of them, around 20 from goal. That would have been some contender for mark of the year again, even though it wasn't a specky. Still, I like to pay those really tough contested marks that are so difficult to take for Phoenix Painting and Decorating. As this one is bent around high and wide, one behind only. For the Lions, 25 and a half gone in this third term. Margin now 13 points for Royals, 12-10-82. And Barker 10-9, 69. You see here, Kinnear read this one nicely at left half forward. High ball. Oh, they boom and crash into each other there. Lachlan Statler was one of the flyers for the Lions. Took a teammate and an opponent out. As latching onto the tackle here, doing well was Rory Sutherland because his opponent did duck his head there in Pavlovich. And it's stolen away by Royals. That was fantastic forward pressure. Textbook stuff. And with a handful of minutes left before three-quarter time, shot on goal will be taken here by Ryan Laser. So once again, can he break his Mount Barker drought for 2026? Still hasn't got a goal against the Bulls. Kicked at least one goal against everybody else. It'll be third time lucky. No, again. Having trouble, a lot of trouble with that right-hand goal post. Here's Ryan Laser. 12-11-83. 10-9-69. Shadows of three-quarter time. Will they come back to bite them? Those couple of crucial misses as the mark is taken there at right half back by Griffiths. Another good contested mark there. Pulled by the big man, who now does the roving work. Got the handball from Aidan Reid. Kick is a poor one, though. Read by Seal, but he had two to beat. Couldn't beat either of them, and Wallinger now mops up for the Bulls. And then barreling his way through nicely was Skinner to release a teammate towards goal. Will it stay in play? It does. Misses the main face of the goal square and the goal line anyway. So Royals don't concede at all, but the ball is coming back there into their defensive area. So what can Mount Barker do here? Mark taken by Lubka. Steers it to the top of the square. As they keep trying to fight and scrap and find their way to get an answering goal here. Hayden puts a tackle on, does nicely. And stops that forward for the defensive exit, I should say, for the Lions as we get a stop and a restart here. And the long sleeve one in Cam Laser. Able to just funnel that one out. And a high ball to right half back here. 2-on-2. And good work there by Asphalt McDonald just to put some pressure on to his opponent on that occasion. To see that one across for a boundary throw-in. I mean, Seth Jones, I think, the man who was just lightly pushed over from his shoulder. No free kick. He gets involved here again. Didn't get the football, but allowed Bryers to do so. pumping ball inside 50. He was hoping for Wiseman. Not taken, though. And once again, the Royals' defence standing tall. High ball up, juggling, and well taken in and amongst quite a few. That's our man Pavlovich again, I reckon. The number 9, Lee Pavlovich. Finds Declan Wood. Puts it up into the Hayden direction. Had a few to beat there. They know how dangerous he is, so they are trying to stack the deck against Hayden at every opportunity. The Lions' defence. And their rebound away is cut off. Turnover here. Affected by Aiden Reid, and he comes out wide. Looks like that could be Kobe Williams, the 28 that time. It was either he or Keane Griffiths, the 29. Either way, it was a big Bulls man out on centre wing on the library and scoreboard side. Now they run out of options going forward. They went lateral. And unfortunately, though, at every opportunity, the Royals did play a very solid set of defensive screening. Made sure every target was manned up. And they forced this one out of bounds. Left half forward for the Bulls. Oh, fresh air attempt. Just dragged down at the last minute was Declan Wood. Goes after it again. Here's Jones paddling forward. Declan Wood joins back into him with the 1% of work. And the siren now beats them. So for all their efforts in the last few minutes, Mount Barker, they were repelled at every turn by the Royals. And so at three-quarter time, match still well and truly alive. But Royals now have a little bit of breathing space entering the last quarter. 12-11-83 to 10-9-69. Goal kickers for the Lions. Rory Sutherland and Travis Conn each have 3. Ryan Kinnear has 2. And singles to Chandler, Askvold, McDonald, Stephen Coyne, Nick Ashford, and Cooper Childs. While for Mount Barker, it's Isaiah Hayden with 4. Campbell McMahon, Jackson Craig with 2 apiece, and singles to Dante Wiseman and also Seb Ballard. We'll take a break here on Filming Footy. All thanks to the Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI and Delta Ag, the Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision Albany, and Premium Grains. You're with Louis Bulzomi. We'll be back with you in a few minutes. And Royals at Sooners Park in Mount Barker. And we have got a beauty at the moment. It's the Lions by 14 points at three-quarter time, but the Bulls have had their fair share of the lead throughout the match, including tying the scores in that third quarter, just when you thought the Lions were going to kick away. They were square at 10-8-68 apiece, entering the 18-minute mark of the third term, but then a couple of goals to Rory Sutherland and also old man Ryan Kinnear have given the Lions their advantage that they enjoy right now. Final half an hour. Can the Bulls pull it off and get 2 wins on the bounce? We'll soon see. As well as Powell with the early clearance for the Lions, but the Bulls were able to counter-attack. Only as far, though, now as that little man Cooper Childs, big in heart as we know, and that was some clever kick yet again. He certainly knows how to input data into that ball to spit out the right information required for success for their side. As that one is pumped inside the goal square there from Ashford. Desperation attempts there from the Bulls' defence. This one tumbles out towards Connolly, who's been one of their best today. That one there, though, not as one of his best efforts coming out. And it's still inside 50 for Royals as it now finds its way out of bounds. So the GSFL, proudly sponsored by naming rights sponsor, Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, Albany Triple M, the minor sponsor, Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery, didn't say marketing this time, Goal of the Year sponsor, and Phoenix Painting and Decorating, Mark of the Year sponsor. As we get another tackle affected by Rory Sutherland, who has 3 goals today. Apologies at the first 2. I had him under the alias of Tyrese Brown because that was the name put on the team sheet initially before we got the finalised ones through at quarter time. But no, Rory Sutherland with those couple of solid first quarter goals. And he added another one in the third term in the red time period along with Kinnear to establish the advantage that they have at the present time. Minute 40 in this final term. No addition to the score either way. The Lions have had the only look at the goals so far. This is as far up the ground that the Bulls have been able to get in this final term. They're kicking to the township end, the Mount Barker township end, the right of your screen. And they might get a 50 entry here. No, they won't. Jones straight into his opponent's back. And a ricochet is now out to the skipper, McNamara, for the Lions. Now it's taken by the opposite 9 in Pavlovich. He just says, how do you do to his opponent with a little hip and shoulder while he had the football, if you don't mind. He could do it all except find a target at right half forward. That's a letdown. And the Lions will relaunch once again from left half back. It's their champion skipper in possession here, McNamara. To a big pack of players. Powell on hands and knees, brought down by Connolly. Ball spills free. Jones gets a left foot kick in here for Mount Barker. And they get a follow-up now inside 50. Their first one for the quarter. What can the dangerous Wiseman do? He combines with Hayden and then caresses this one away and across the face of the goals. Couple of bounces in for a throw-in. Well, the worst result for Mount Barker. See what they can do here. Geez, a flat throw-in for the umpire. But they're not complaining, the Bulls, because Hayden was able to take it clean out. Unfortunately, though, he misses the lot to the other side. Out of bounds on the full in the right forward pocket. I've got our hopes up for nothing in the end, unfortunately. From a Mount Barker point of view, as Pinney, ex-Albany premiership player, a couple of years ago, played in their losing effort against Railways last year as well before making the crossover as part of the main recruiting raid by new coach James Cullerton into the Royals lineup. Took that kick towards left half back and then it just pinged around for a little bit before now going out last touch for a free kick to Mount Barker. Declan Wood. Ball was a good one into the leaping man there of Craig, and he's been brought down, much to the dismay of the Royals faithful and some of the coaching staff. I'm sure that Carlton was in full voice there as well in his disapproval of that decision from the umpire. Anyway, it was there. Craig dragged down in the marking attempt without the football. So too far out to score, you would think, for him. He goes inside the goal square. Who's there? Who can get a kick off the ground? No one can. Royals get it away. For how long, though? Great take. Briers. Half blinded by that ball coming in too, because there were three other players around him, a teammate and two opponents. Didn't really get the best look at that one. Sort of stuck his hands out and closed his eyes and prayed to the heavens. And the heavens responded in kind to him. So, let's see what he can do here. Probably a little too close to the man on the mark. Hayden got hands to that one inside the square. What will the Royals do? Will they rush it over? No. Other ideas, says Penny. But maybe you should have thought about it, because now it comes back into the hands of Briers. Tries to don't argue. Didn't work, though. Got to watch a bit more of Dustin Martin's highlights as Seth Bogan, Boshin, I should say, not Bogan. Apologies for Royals. Had it, lost it. Royals, though, regain it, only momentarily, though. Briers once again, steering past Ballard. So they're getting this part right. Mount Barker, the mark's inside 50. In this last quarter, especially at around 35 to 40 from goal. It's just this next bit that they can't execute at the moment. As we now tick close to the 6-minute mark of this final quarter, neither side has added to their three-quarter time score, so it's still a 14-point lead in favour of Royals. Can Big Ballard cut it? 1, 2, 8. Yes! And he has a couple. There's Big Seb. $11.975 to $12.11.83. Game back on again at Sooners Park. We'll take the opportunity now to go around the grounds if we can and get a score update. Railways 17-14, 116. Belting North Albany 3-5-23. A 93-point advantage to the reigning premiers there. And Denmark Walpole 13-10-88. Talk about a boil over. 53 points in front of Albany, 5-5-35. So the prize just got a lot larger for Royals in this contest, because a win will see them take outright second from Albany. Of course, Railways' percentage will increase on their 218 so far with the win over North Albany. But Denmark Walpole looking for their second win of the year and stopping Albany in their tracks, who have only lost the one game. The 53-point advantage as we speak. So we've got the close one, thankfully, here on Film in Footy, as you see there, tackle affected by Wallinger, preventing Flick from progressing any further. All up just south of the centre square. Soccer pitch wing side. And now the big fella, who hasn't had it all his way in this game, has Nathan Powell. It's been absolute treat watching his body language all the way through. He is a character. And he thought he had the free kick there. Couldn't fool the umpire, though, who asked for it back. And he asked nicely, please, come on. And he eventually obliged as we get a restart once again. Childs has been superb in this second half, and he's furious at himself for giving away a free kick there that he didn't feel existed. But Sooners got down low, and the umpire said there was no head ducking whatsoever. It was contact deemed illegal in the old-fashioned style of the rules, as the short ball finds Briers. And his ball into Big Hayden again. The stacking of that defence against him. 2 to beat this time, as the left foot of Penny is cut off here. I think it was Robinson that got involved for Mount Barker with that cut off. But the Royals defence resolute to prevent that from being a deep inside 50 entry. It was barely shallow as it was, and they force it out of bounds now at right half forward for the Wolves, who have got the only score of this final quarter. It was a goal to Seb Ballard for his second. The Royals are hanging on grimly to this 8-point advantage. 83 plays 75. 9 gone in this final term. Umpires picked out a throw here. It'll be a Mount Barker free, will it? Well, if it was, you think the advantage should have been paid? Well, maybe not. Maybe Briers just A little too late to react to the free kick, and then by the time he got going, the umpire said, sorry, mate, advantage gone. Anyway, it comes back to Connolly, and he'll try to utilise the advantage from a set play. Inside 50, Wiseman could be involved and dangerous here, but no, it's Ballard who's the man who burrows his way through like a big proverbial Mount Barker bull in towards Jones. High kick, one bounce out of bounds in the right forward pocket. Down at the Mount Barker Township end. So 8 points in arrears the home side. Another shallow throw in, flat. And it comes out here towards McMahon off the left. Yes, goal! No, point! It was like tossing a coin and calling heads, but it came up tails in the end. Went the early crow. Unfortunate miss for Campbell McMahon, who for mine, I think will take our nomination for the Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery Goal of the Year contender for that perler of a banana / check side on the boundary in the third quarter. Whereas our Phoenix Painting and Decorating Mark of the Year contender, there's quite a fair few great contested marks taken. But I think that the man who led that charge was Isaiah Hayden, so maybe he's the one who gets the nod just for the fact that he did it first. It's a bit like Formula One qualifying when you get the exact same time to the thousandth of a second. If you didn't do it first, you don't start first. And anyway, we'll see whether the Royals can remain equal first, along with Railways, considering that now Albany will drop out of that three-way tie. With a shot on goal coming up after another beautiful inboard pass coming from the scoreboard wing into the number 15, Rory Sutherland, who's had a great day in front of goals, even though he has missed a couple. 3 goals, 2. That's held its line, I think, so 4 goals, 2 it is. Phenomenal day up forward for Rory Sutherland. Once again, the Royals Lions get the answer in the nick of time. 13-11-89. Mount Barker 11-10-76. 12 gone in the final quarter of this round 6 contest in the Great Southern Football League. Effectively the match of the day, especially with how tight the scores are. As we get another live update around the grounds. Railways 17-15-117. Lead North Albury. It's in Victoria. North Albion. Yours going to happen once today. North Albany 3-6-24. And Denmark Walpole in the boil over of the season, you would think so far. 13-12-90 over Albany 6-7-43. No, not that kind of 6-7, considering that in the previous fixture, Albany on Denmark Walpole's home deck at McLean Oval won by 25 points. So maybe not as much of a boil over as you'd think, though, because that scoreline considers that Denmark Walpole were in the fight in that first game. And for the most part, they were after they led by 12 points at quarter time. It was a heavy second quarter to Albany that swung the ledger back in their favour, albeit an inaccurate one. 4 goals, 7 to nothing. That was pretty much your difference as we get back to play here at Sooners Park. Fighting for it, missing and getting seconds of the ball was Aidan Reid, but did enough, though, to not cause any further damage. In and amongst that, again, was Rory Sutherland, who now joins Isaiah Hayden as the leading goal scorer on the ground. Both of them have 4 for their respective sides. So throw in, once again, the big man Powell. Hustles in, hustles, and holds the football up once again for another ruck contest. Declan Wood's been busy as well. Some fantastic contested work from him right throughout. Helped get things going for Mount Barker in the first term. He'll have to utilise whatever reserve energy he has left for it. And as soon as I say that, he gets called off. Well, hopefully we'll see him again before time runs out. I'm sure we will, as Tyson Wallinger comes on to replace him. Leaping work from Griffiths there while Powell stayed to ground. At least this time Powell had a ruckman to contend with. Most of the time he's been going on his own because the Bulls Rucks have been happy to just act as the extra rover. Anyway, the Royals get the clearing ball out through Ryan Lazar. Only as far, they were centre-half forward. The Bulls now have the advantage in numbers here, 2-1. Galloping through the middle of Sooners Park. Steering ball's a good one into Ballard, who's had a monstrous second half with 2 goals and plenty of other score involvements. Inside towards Hayden. He couldn't take the mark. And the Royals get away, and now Powell, for a rare occasion to get a loose footy here, can't do so. Jones able to tap it away from him. Tap, tap, taparoo. Out of bounds for a throw-in right in front of the Lions interchange. So the margin at 13 points. So Mount Barker winning the quarter by 1 behind. Of course, a honourable loss won't be what Gary Pope is hoping for, or anyone will be hoping for. Even though it's a far better effort than the 40-point loss they suffered to the same side back in round 1, as we get another ball up here at right half forward. This time up in ruck for the Lions was Ashford, and he's had a great game as well. Follows up his own work too. Gets dragged over the line. Was he legged? No. It was a legal tackle by Souness, said the umpire. And we'll get a toss back in, but precious seconds continue to tick away. Still heaps of time though for Mount Barker. But the Royals brick wall still impenetrable enough. But we'll see what Mount Barker could do here with this build-up. The handball chain ends with Griffiths. The kick inside 50 wasn't the greatest. The Royals will clear away once again into the hands of Natali Trequillo. As you can tell, I'm an Italian myself, so I know how to pronounce those ones. And we get towards the centre wing. And good work there. Pinning attempt from McNamara. 1, 2, 3, says the umpire. I'll take it back. So McNamara there, stopping Bryars from getting the turnover affected. And the restart here. And here the chance of kick it Reedy. It was Zach Reed that got onto the football, but the boundary line beat him. It's almost 17 minutes gone. Still a 13-point lead that the Royals Lions are hanging on to by the skin of their teeth. Mount Barker throwing everything at them, but can't burst through that brick wall in this last quarter at the moment. They thought they had done so. They thought they found a hole in it, a little divot, but it was patched up with the responding goal to Rory Sutherland after Seb Ballard got things going 6 minutes into this final quarter. Now off hands here. Coming through again. Was that Ashford once again? Wouldn't be surprised if it was. It certainly was. Like I said, he's had some game up there with the apologies there, just got disconnected once again. We're back on board with you right now here on Filming Footy, as keeping it inside centimetre perfect style. Varley, Dennis Cometti in McNamara. Inside 50 it goes. And eventually, play stops once again. So we now await the throw in. 50 out from the Lions' goal. Can they land the final killer blow? Can old man Kinnear do it? Found space where most would give up. Look at that. Take note, everybody. Older doesn't mean lesser. It means wiser in every aspect. And Ryan Kinnear once again showing him how it's done. And he finds Big 34 in Ashton Henriksen, who might be able to say bye-bye once and for all to the home side. No. He invites them to come in for another cup of coffee. One behind. 13-12-90 the score now for Royals. 11-10-76 the score for Mount Barker. So we're back where we were at three-quarter time in terms of the margin. Oh, that was some work from Kinnear. Oh, it's an absolute pleasure watching him still do it at competitive levels. Hopefully he'll be making the trip to Newcastle later this year for the 2026 Masters Carnival. Anyway, Mount Barker, they were invited to come back and still hang around, and Craig said, all right, I'll take the invitation, I'll have the coffee, and give me a few cakes along with it too. He's got 3. And Mount Barker still can take these 4 points away and win a couple on the trot. 12-10-82 to 13-12-90. Their only other win so far this year against Denmark Walpole by 73 points back in round 2. Tough going against Railways in round 3. A loss there by 104 points at this ground. And then a 29-point gallant loss to Albany in the belt-up round over at Retrovision Stadium before the thumping win over North Albany last week. Can they make it 2 on the trot here? They're still in for the fight. As the ball now goes out to the public library side of Sooners Park. Tackles are plenty thrown by both sides here. Eventually the last one, the umpire calls for it, with Griffiths the last man with the footy. Oh, this has been an enthralling game. Pleasure to call. As now Cooper Child sneaks away. Right half forward, top of the square it goes. Through hands, chance here. Sutherland brought down, slung down, was he? Nope, gone, holding the ball. Legal tackle, says the umpire. Job well done. I think it was Aidan Reid that time. There's off hands here. Here comes Connolly. Arguably Mount Barker's best half-back rebounder of this game. In towards one of their most dangerous forwards in Wiseman. He's got the 1 goal today, but he has been looming large in plenty of other opportunities. Although he's far away from home here as the ball gets tucked up around right half forward for Mount Barker, and that's a tackle over the shoulder, is it not? By Robinson. Umpire says, I think I'll let you get away with that, but I'll create another 50-50 opportunity for each side. Ball up. Wing and right half forward for Mount Barker. Can still smell that victory. What a victory it would be too against a perennial premiership contender in Royals. Mann says, what victory? Was Royals the most decorated side in the competition with 14 premierships. Their last coming back in 2020 it was the second part of a double with 2019. And close calls as well in 2024 and 2023. Albany were able to prevail on both of those occasions for their only 2 premierships in their club history. It was Mount Barker, their sole premiership way back in their 3rd year of existence back in 1996, the 6th year of the league's existence. So obviously both sides want to be able to right those wrongs, but yeah, the Royals have just about owned this competition. Them and North Albany, the 2 oldest clubs. As far as their establishment was concerned, both established in 1897. As we get yet another ball up inside the centre square, so precious seconds again ticking away, but still heaps of time. So over 6 minutes remaining, as all quarters have gone pretty much the 30 minutes. Once again, good work there from McNamara into Tequila with the handball. Tequila puts it inside 50. Getting bumped off that one was Statler. Played for the free, did he? Maybe not, because he does look quite hurt. I don't think he was staging for it. He's still down. We'll hope to see if he can get up and be okay as Mount Barker clear away to centre wing over on the Library side. Keegan Taylor can't find the pathway forward and then lost his footing in the end as all the players now converge around the football. Once again, hot potato stuff as it now comes back. Oh, it's just given away there by the Mount Barker midfielders. Almost colourblind, even though these are 2 distinct colours. Fighting hard once again there, Kinnear. Couldn't grab it. Childs almost riding his opponent like a mechanical bull. Figuratively, even almost literally. Given that they are playing against the Bulls, as we hear a Bronx cheer. And I think it's a free kick to Royals. And potentially 50 as well, as tempers are flaring right now between Ryan Laser and also Kobe Williams. So off the ball, free here to Royals. Oh, it won't be. They were calling for it. And in fact, it's the umpire said, bugger it. You know, you shouldn't have remonstrated. And instead, I'll just ball it up. So he penalised both sides, really. Little confusion anyway. Intercept mark taken here by Tequilo. And he gets the ball inside 50, and it's cut off by Connolly, who's the intercept genius today for Mount Barker. Just sometimes his kicking does let him down a little bit. This one intercepted back again by Bochian, and he finds a target. The man who started it all today for Royals, Rory Sutherland, to go back for goal number 5 and effectively kiss the Mount Barker Bulls goodnight. As the sun starts to begin its setting within the clouds here in the Mount Barker sky. That one there from Sutherland just falls short of the goal square. Tackle put on again by Little Childs. Man, he's a gun. Love the way he's gone about, especially in the second half. And Jacob Soudness could not break his shackles. Ball up at the teeth of the Royals' goals. They'll be happy to have this here for the remaining 4 minutes to close it out. And then a snap opportunity right to the goal line. Has it been marked? No, behind. Kobe Williams doing just enough to stop that marking attempt and get the ball over for a minus score. 9 points the margin. Favour of the Lions. 12-10-82 Mount Barker. Royals 13-13-91. Time now seriously the enemy for the home side. As soon as now goes lateral to find Breyer. Still inside defensive 50. He short pass is okay too to Wallinger, but they've got to get going now. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Wallinger's long kick. Oh, well read. That was Connor Lays at that time. Didn't complete the mark on the way down, but still held grimly onto the football and did not let go, despite the valiant attempts of his Mount Barker opponents to rip it away from him. Well done by Laser at the death there. Superb defence. As the Royals clear away once again. Towards 50. Leading out here. He's had a great day as well as Con. Not as big of a last quarter though, but he certainly made a statement earlier on with his 2 goals in the first term. Just continues to paddle it, and he's happy to just draw anyone and everyone into it, and then he's gone holding the ball, but vitally though, he did waste a good 30 seconds. So at least from a professional standpoint, he did his job, even though Mount Barker have the footy. Back towards the right half forward. They don't go any further than that though, because Royals had certainly set themselves up ready for that. That's why it was a professional free kick given away by Travis Conn for mine. As that one is now considered last touch, so Mount Barker get a gift again through Jones. On ball, up against the boundary line, fisted away nicely by the ex-Albany player in Penny. Ex-Albany Sharks. Premiership player in both their years, 2023 and 2024. Welcome addition to this Royals Lions lineup. As Childs, has he disguised that well? Well, he kept it in anyway. Well done. What can't he do, this little fella? Love him. Give him a raise. Oh, well, maybe not. Maybe skim that off the top because he turned it over. Okay. Adam Large takes the football, and he's going to have to be large and in charge in his last couple of minutes, just like Ballard has been large and in charge in this second half. Big mark and kick towards the top of the square, off hands. Desperation work here by Ryan Laser. Draws a crowd. Umpire says no prior, ball up, and that plays into the hands of James Carlton's men nicely. With a minute to go. Mount Barker need 2 goals to win it. Fighting for it in his own again was Powell, but this time he was able to muscle his ruck opponent out of there in Griffiths, instead of Griffiths waiting down for him. So ball up again. 29 and 12, 13 in this last quarter. So just seconds left, you would think. Here's Mount Barker's second to last opportunity. And it was always going to be tough from there as Wallinger was forced away from goal. So that power in the snap kick was taken away from him, and he could only manufacture a minor score. So that should just about do it, you'd think. Even though they'll hate the honourable loss term, Mount Barker, it certainly has been today. They've been up for the fight all the way through. The Royals have had to really dig deep and be on their A game throughout to counter-attack Mount Barker. So if that's anything to go by as this season goes on, do not write the Bulls off. Even though they'll be 3 games off the top, they're still hanging on to 4th present time on the ladder as we await the final siren. Inside 50 for the Bulls it goes, but not for long though. And the resistance finally gets worn off, but it took until the last minute to do it. And the Royals Lions, they hurt that one big time. They hold off a very stiff and very determined underdog opponent in Mount Barker here at Sooners Park today in round 6 of the Great Southern Football League, brought to you here on Filming Footy. 13-13-91 to 12-11-83, the final score. Lions win it by 8 points, and they join the reigning premiers Railways as the sole 2 sides with 5 wins and 1 loss in season 2026. As we just get confirmation of the scores around the grounds in the other 2 games. Railways 17-15, 117. And with another goal on top of that, final score there, 18-15, 123 on that refresh. 87-point winners over North Albany, 5-6-36. So probably slowing down a little bit in the death there were Railways, and then they pretty much did. They only kicked a couple of goals in the final quarter, while North Albany actually won the quarter. They kicked 3 goals, 1. Railways kicked 2 goals, 4. So small mercy there for the bottom side, but the damage was already done with a 7-goal-to-1 first term, 7-6, effectively an 8-goal-to-1 first quarter, and then another 6 goals, 2 to 1 goal, 1, and the margin had already blown out to 72 points at half-time. So Cruise Control put on the remainder of the contest. It got it to 90 points at 3-quarter time. Plenty of opportunities for the reigning premiers to threaten to extend that margin way beyond 100. They decided to show some mercy to North Albany, and to their credit, though, the bottom side, Kangas did pull back a little bit of respect at the end, but the Tigers were far too emphatic in that contest. Brock Lathbury and Bodie Stubber leading the way with 4 goals for the reigning premiers, while in the other match, what a boil over this was. Even though Denmark Walpole were gallant in defeat when they played Albany in round 1 by 25 points, they have pummeled Albany on their home deck by 47 points. It was 11 points of margin at quarter time, 17 at half time, and then a 6-goal-to-1 third quarter ripped the Sharks apart. And the Magpies feasted on the flesh and then steadied up in the last quarter, 3 goals, 3 to 4 goals, 3. So only losing that quarter by a goal, but the damage had already been done in the third term, the old premiership quarter, if you will. And Denmark Walpole secure their 2nd win of the season and now join Mount Barker on 2 wins and 4 losses. But still in arrears on percentage at the present time. So Mount Barker still hang on to 4th spot. 6 goals to Ryan Hick, 5 goals to James Charlesworth, and it was all singles on the other side of the ledger. So out of 14 goals, those 2 combined for 11 of them. How emphatic. But in this game here, brilliant work by the Royals Lions, but definitely do not take anything away from Gary Pope and his Mount Barker Bulls. They were fantastic all the way through. They were there for the fight the entire way. Never once did they put their heads down and give things up, even when they were making plenty of mistakes in the first quarter, and you felt that Royals could have established maybe a 4, 5, upwards of 6-goal advantage by quarter time. No, Mount Barker weren't going to let them have it their own way at any stage today. They fought right to the end, and unfortunately, just that last quarter, even though they were still taking marks inside 50, just could not find that direct avenue enough to goal, apart from one time when Jackson Craig put through his third at the 20-minute mark to bring the margin back to 8 points. But in the end, the Royals defence had to work overtime, and they will certainly enjoy that boost in their pay packet from the penalty rates. 13-13, 91 to 12-11, 83. Goal kickers for the Lions. Rory Sutherland with 4, Travis Conn with 3. Ryan Kinnear, the evergreen, Old Man River, 180 years old, 2 goals, but an absolute superstar. Now, in all seriousness, it was an absolute pleasure calling him in the AFL Masters Carnival last year up in Darwin. I sincerely hope he joins the Black Swans over to Newcastle and takes part again this year in the over 35s and the over 40s as well. It would be lovely to see him suit up once again in October. He had a couple today. And singles to Chandler, Astval, McDonald, Stephen Coyne, Nicholas Ashford, and Cooper Childs. Well, I love watching him play. You know, always the little fellas. Always a big supporter of them. One's given up so much size, but certainly have plenty in heart. He certainly is the epitome of that. While on the other side, Isaiah Hayden was fantastic, but unfortunately, though, when the Royals' defence started to double team him, he just wasn't able to overcome those odds. But when it was one-on-one, he was certainly very difficult to beat and provided quite the headache for James Carlton and his Chargers to handle earlier on in the game. He kicked 4, Jackson Craig with 3, Campbell McMahon with 2, and plenty of other opportunities. 2 goals, 3 in the end for him. Oh, what it might have been if he had been able to convert those other 3 opportunities. And then singles to Dante Wiseman, and no one else because Seb Ballard also kicked a 2. It's just reconfirming again. Craig with 3, McMahon 2, Hayden 4, Ballard 2, Wiseman 1. So there you have it. Royals win, but Mount Barker win plenty of respect with their efforts today at Sooners Park in round 6 of the Great Southern Football League. Next week for round 7, we have Denmark Walpole hosting Mount Barker, so we'll get another look at the Bulls again, but this time they'll go up against the Magpies at McLean Oval, and boy, is this going to be some contest now. The battle for 4th is alive and well after the Magpies did a big number on the Sharks earlier today by 47 points. And Filming Footy will be there on Saturday, June the 6th. We've got the President's Luncheon as well with special guest Chris Johnson, 3-time Brisbane Lions Premiership player, 2-time All-Australian, Indigenous Team of the Century, international rules on 3 occasions as well, and also co-captain for the Lions in 2005. A total of 264 AFL games and 172 goals. Not bad for a back pocket. And, of course, a member of the Fitzroy Lions, last ever entered AFL team back in 1996. He was actually the last Fitzroy Lion to retire from AFL. Last active Fitzroy Lion player to remain active in AFL circles for Brisbane, and he was one of the 8 players that came over as part of the merger deal between Fitzroy and the Brisbane Bears, and he eventually retired in 2007. So Chris Johnson will be there. Of course, you can hear him these days on Triple M. If you tune in via the Listener app, you can't get him locally in the Triple M circles. Of course, Lockie Reed and the team do a fantastic job there. Mark, the Beast Committee, of course, we still dearly miss your dad, mate. But arguably one of the best call teams going around is that Western Australian Triple M call team. Love listening and tuning in to them whenever we get an opportunity, especially on a Sunday night. But anyway, so that'll be next week. Chris Johnson in attendance for the President's Luncheon at Denmark Walpole, who will host Mount Barker, and that'll be your game for broadcast here on Filming Footy. And then on July the 18th, we'll be back there in round 10 for Denmark Walpole with Josh Kennedy and Lewis Jetta. So how about that? Josh Kennedy, I believe it'll be West Coast Josh Kennedy, and Lewis Jetta as well, the ex-Eagle and Swan, who will suit up for Denmark Walpole. and the Royals, respectively. So Kennedy for Denmark Walpole and Jeddah for the Royals in the Carlton Draft match. So, of course, the great initiative from Carlton Draft to supply ex-AFL players to various clubs around the country who all bid for them. And both Denmark Walpole and Royals have won out superbly here, acquiring the services of Josh Kennedy and Lewis Jeddah, respectively, and they will suit up on Saturday, July the 18th at McLean Oval in round 10. So anyway, we will now farewell you from Sooners Park. It has been an absolute honour and privilege to call this game for you. My first one for the Great Southern Football League here for Filming Footy, Louis Bulzomi. We want to once again, before we say goodbye, thank the wonderful sponsors. First, for the GSFL, the naming rights sponsor, Rainbow Coast Insurance Brokers, who have been the naming rights sponsor since inception 4 years ago. Thanks to James and the boys, and certainly get around RCIB, where you are dealing locally with insurance matters. We also welcome on board Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery for Goal of the Year. Thanks to Rogan and his crew, who do outstanding craftsmanship, and the nomination we have for today would be the goal kicked by Campbell McMahon at the 15-minute mark of the third quarter. The sort of very untidy entry towards him, and he was able to make the ball talk and sing even with that check side banana snap. With not a lot of time to get himself propped up and ready for it either off the boundary. That was something out of the box. So that one is our Suggs Timber Machining and Joinery Goal of the Year contender. And we also have the Phoenix Painting and Decorating Mark of the Year. So welcome to Michael and his hard-working crew. A nomination there. You could throw a blanket over a heap of contested marks taken, but as I said before, Formula One, and if you get this exact same qualifying time, it's whoever achieves it first. So for me, Isaiah Hayden gets the nod there. So a couple of little wins for Mount Barker coming out of it with Goal of the Year and Mark of the Year nominees. But anyway, you can all choose what your own, if you so like, but that's from a commentary perspective. But at the end, the win that mattered the most was the win for 4 points on the scoreboard, and it was in favour of the Royals Lions by 8 points. We also want to thank the minor sponsor, Albany Triple M, who also have provided some wonderful support for the GSFL. But here at Filming Footy, we want to thank our sponsors as too. Great Southern Fuels, AFGRI, Delta Ag, Kimberley Accommodation Group, UTF Trailers, Corrigan Hotel, Wild Gravel, Alum Lube, Dartfish, Archie's Footwear, Omnibus, Classic Clashes, Gallagher, Retrovision Albany, and Premium Grains. Louis Bulzomi signing off. Absolute honour and privilege. Hope to catch you all again soon. Take care and have a wonderful